Scoop. True stories that have made headlines.
The heroine of Harker's Rock.
Yes, what is it?
Good morning. I'm Roger Phillips from the Daily Sun.
Oh?
Thank you. I telephoned for an appointment to see Miss Grace Darling.
I'm afraid that isn't possible.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I telephoned.
Whether you telephoned or not doesn't alter the fact that you can't see my daughter. Oh, she's ill.
Oh.
Everything's been too much for her. Over the past 4 years, she's never been left in peace, not for a moment.
Well, she is a national heroine. She's made the headlines.
She's a human being. A shy, sensitive human being. Well, you don't know what she's been through, Mr. Phillips. She's been feted and quoted and discussed and stared at. Especially stared at.
Well, that is to be expected.
She's had boats and babies named after her. She can't walk down a street without people touching her. My daughter was a quiet living girl. She helped us at the lighthouse. She was happy in her way until... Oh, I tell you, Mr. Phillips, it's all been too much for her.
Oh, I see.
Too much.
But, don't
The
you...
doctor's with her now. It's her lungs. An exhaustion.
Oh,
There's no hope for her, Mr. Phillips.
no hope at all?
None.
I didn't realize. I'm very sorry to have troubled you, Mrs. Darling. I wouldn't have intruded had I thought...
Sit down, young man.
But really...
No,
it's all-
sit down. You're here now. A human interest story.
Mrs. Darling, in the circumstances, I wouldn't want to distress you.
There's a storm blowing up. This is how it was when well, we were living on the Longstone Lighthouse at the time. That's on the coast of Northumberland. There was a storm then. Thunder like this. Rain, wind. My husband and Grace were...
The weather's worsening, Father.
Aye. Bottom has fallen out of glass. The wind is driving up fast this way, too.
I've never known it as wild as this before. Oh, see them white horses trying to crash down on us?
Ah, well, it's a good thing we stocked up with supplies last week. This spell of weather is going to last. I'm only sorry that Brooks went fishing. He should be here helping us.
Oh, let him enjoy himself, Father. This isn't the life for a young man.
Only hear you talk, Grace. One would think you were at least 100 years old yourself.
Well, it's different for me. I like it here. Brooks doesn't.
He'll settle. I only hope he'd put into shore safely. Fishing Cobble hasn't a chance out there. With a night like this, the Tronso broke up on Harker's Rock.
Tronso? I'd never heard about it, Father.
Well, it doesn't help to talk about such things, lass. I've spent the past 20 years trying to forget.
But what happened?
She struck full on and broke into pieces. Not one life was saved.
Oh.
They were all...
Did you see it?
Aye. Everything through that same glass that you now hold in your hands. I stood there watching.
Oh, it must have been horrible.
The nights I dreamt about it. My feeling of helplessness as I stood there watching. When the weather cleared, no ship remained, only those rocks and the gulls above, wailing and calling.
But, Father, couldn't you have rowed out to help?
What?
Oh,
Rowed
yes.
myself? Oh, heaven preserve us, girl. Row a light fishing cobble a mile out on a night like this? Impossible. It took the lifeboats more than 2 hours to reach them, and they had the wash to help them.
Yeah, but imagine what those people's thoughts were, Father. Just imagine being out there in this, and knowing you're going to die, knowing there's no hope, watching it coming.
Grace, what talk is this? Stop it now. I would never have told you if I thought you'd take on this way. It all happened long ago, now forget it. I'll take over watch from you. You go down to your mother, girl. Go down to her.
Oh, Father, this is my watch. Let me finish it.
Only if you promise to forget all I've told you about Tronso. What's done is done. It's finished. We'll never have another tragedy like that. Believe me, Grace, such things can only happen once in a lifetime.
Yes, Father.
I'll go down to your mother now, and I'll be back in an hour.
More coffee, William?
No, thank you. Oh, I'll be going to see how Grace is getting on.
Oh, don't worry about her. She's all right. Rest yourself.
Oh, but it's a wild night to be up in that tower alone.
She's used to it, William. Now sit down. A man of your age can't work morning, noon, and night. You must relax. Here, let me pour you coffee. There you are.
I said no.
Oh, shush. No need to snap at me.
Oh, sorry.
That's better. Now, put up your feet and let me fill your pipe for you.
Sometimes I think I'm mad staying here.
But this is your job.
I should go ashore, get a job with regular hours. It'd be better for Gracie and you. She would meet more people, and maybe some likely lad would marry her.
When the time is right for her to marry, she will.
But she's growing no younger. 22 last birthday.
And what of that? I was 24 when I met and married you, William, darling.
I wouldn't be wanting my Gracie marrying a lighthouse keeper. That's why I should leave here. Get her away. Let's see more of the outside world.
If that's to be, William, then surely it will be. The good Lord has everything planned for us. It's written clear in the book. So don't go fussing and phrasing yourself. Now, come on. Let me pour you some more coffee.
Oh, I wish Brooks hadn't gone fishing.
I told you not to let him go, especially in this weather. His place is by your side, helping with the lamps.
Hey, the alarm.
Oh, merciful heaven.
Grace must have seen something. Come on, let's go up to her.
Father! Quickly!
What is it, Grace?
A ship has been driven on Arca's Rock. Do you see?
Yeah, give me the glasses.
Yeah.
Steamship, sizable too. Run up a distant signal for near Coast Guard station, Grace.
All right.
I'll do it. You stay with your father, Grace.
And wait and see if signal's acknowledged.
Yes, William.
Must be Forfarshire. The only steamship on this run.
How long will it take the lifeboats to get there, Father?
This wind blowing a couple of hours.
Couple of hours? But she'd break up before then. She's jammed out in the rocks now.
Perhaps she'll stand up to the battering. She's stoutly built. See?
Huh?
She's holding steady.
I can't see any passengers, can you?
No, not with this spray and the waves breaking over her. It's just possible they abandoned ship before she struck.
The signal's been acknowledged, William.
Good.
2 hours? We've got to stand here and do nothing for 2 hours?
Now, see here, Gracie, we've signaled for lifeboats. Without us, they would have been denied even that help.
Well, we must do more. We can't just stand here.
We can do nothing. As long as she holds together, everyone will be safe enough.
But it won't hold. It can't. And there's another thing, Father. Double tide rises within the hour. Once that happens, no one on board will have a chance. It'll rip the ship to pieces.
Don't talk to your father like that, Grace.
Father, how can you stand there doing nothing?
Grace, I know this coast.
Father! Oh, that wave! Did you see?
Caught her stern and swung around.
Oh, she's broken in half.
Yes, there are people, look. Clinging to the rock. I can see children. We can't leave them there. They'll never survive the waves. We must do something, Father, we must.
Give the lifeboats time. They'll reach them.
There are 9 people there, I've counted. 9 people clinging to that rock.
But we can't stand here and watch them die.
Well, if it's to be, Grace, it will be.
Well, Father, let's launch the fishing cobble and row to them. That's their only hope.
Are you mad? Launch the cobble in this weather?
But you must. I'll help you to row.
Impossible. If we ever did reach those survivors, we'd never return here. Not in every season strong current.
But we can try. We must try.
Grace, don't go on and on. You heard your father. It's impossible.
Oh, very well, then. I'll do it alone.
I won't allow you to leave this tower.
Father, you yourself told me that you never slept for 4 nights after the wreck of the Tromso. The feeling of helplessness you felt, standing here, watching and doing nothing. Well, I'd go mad to have such a burden on my conscience.
Do you want to kill yourself? That's what this plan of yours will mean. Death.
Father, as we stand here arguing, those people will be swept away. Every single moment is precious.
Grace, you listen to me. The strength of at least 4 men is needed to control that cobble in this weather.
Look, I row well. I'm strong.
Oh, a slip of a girl. Don't listen to her, William.
Oh, Grace is right. We can't leave them out there. We've got to do something.
But this is madness. Oh, hear me well, Grace. If your father is drowned this night, I'll blame you for it.
Dear Mother, look through this telescope, please. I beg of you.
No.
Please. Oh. There. You see those people on that rock clearly now?
Aye.
Well, must we leave them there without trying to help them? Must we, Mother? Think if you were there. Or me, or Father.
Oh, do what you like, Grace. I'll stand up here and pray for you.
Oh, thank you, Mother. Come on, Father. Let's launch the fishing cobble and go to them as quickly as we can.
We can't approach the wreck, Grace. Not in this swell. Go by way of Curlew's Rock.
I know that's a mile off course.
We can't risk anything else. Pull easy. Watch that current.
Aye. If only we could pull clear into the channel.
Not a chance.
Ah,
Easy, Grace.
I'll be all right. Can you see them yet?
Aye. When we're riding the crests.
Think they've seen us?
I can't tell. There's no sign of the Sunderland boat. Watch out, Grace. Pull harder.
Right.
Rocks ahead. That's right.
We're going to reach them, Father. It's getting easier now.
Got the wind with us for a space.
Yeah.
Once we've left shelter of rocks, it won't be so easy.
Oh, I know.
They've seen us. Did you hear?
Aye.
Hold on. We're coming.
Oh, if only we could pull harder.
Easy does it, lass. Not far now. Tricky bit here. Pull harder, quickly.
I can see them. Look.
Ahoy! As quick as you can. We can't hold on much longer.
Can you see how many there are, Father?
No. When we draw nearer, Grace, you stay in cobble and drift in as near as you can. I'll jump on rocks and help them aboard.
Yes, right.
Watch it against the rocks, that's all. Clear out a bit.
I'll do that.
That's it.
Careful when you jump, Father. The rocks are very slippery.
Quickly there. We can pull no harder. How many of you are there? 8 men and a woman. Oh, we can't take them all, Grace. Not more than 5. They'll swamp us.
We'll have to pull out twice.
Aye. Oh, we decide that. Let's see how we manage this. Here, let me help you to pull the boat in. No, I'm jumping to you. Can't risk the rocks.
Right now. Now, Father, now with the swell as it is.
Hold her where she is, Grace.
Right.
I'm going. Steady, sir, steady. I got you. That's it. I can take 5 of you this trip, only 5.
Only 5, but there are 9 of us.
I can only take 5.
The rest will never hold on.
Only 5. This lady here and 4 others. Quick now, make up your minds.
You're asking us to stay and die.
Luke, my daughter is out there in that boat. She can't play it much longer.
Your daughter?
Aye, my daughter. Those that stay will come back for. That's my word. We will.
Yeah, but the tide is rising.
A woman and 4 of you. That's my last word.
Father, quickly, the tide's turning.
You heard her? The woman and 4 others. Come on, follow me.
Give you a hand with the rowing, miss.
I know these parts. We're almost there now.
Keep her steady.
Aye.
Are you the lighthouse keeper hereabouts?
Aye.
But I thought you were the Sunderland lifeboat.
It takes time launching them. Much further away. A couple more miles.
You talked about going back for the rest. You need help?
Aye. The lass can't do it again. She took full burden of this trip.
I'm all right, Father.
I'll take over her place.
You mean that?
Aye, well, I'm used to handling small craft. Able seaman aboard the Forfarshire.
You're on then, young man. Right, just as soon as we put these survivors ashore,
We'll pull out again and rescue the rest of them.
Father! Look, I could easily go back.
No, Grace, you've done enough, my girl. Why, for you, I would never have launched this trouble, and these people here would never have been saved.
Oh, well.
That's enough. Leave the rest to us. Aye, just little enough for us to do.
Have you seen the boat yet, Mother?
I watched your father pick up the rest of them, but they seem to run into a heavy swell near Curlew's Rock.
What? Haven't you seen them after?
No. Oh, Spray's getting worse.
Oh, dear.
It's difficult to see. Here, you take the glasses and have a look.
All right. Oh, I can't see them.
But I saw them, Grace.
Yes, but if they'd watched on the rocks, I'd see the boat. I couldn't help it. Oh, they must be all right.
Well, where are they, then?
Well, sea's running so high, it isn't easy to pick out a small cobble.
Here, let me have another look.
Go on, woman. Just a minute, Mother. I think... Yes. Yes, there's 6 of them quite close.
Oh, praise
But
heaven.
they look in bad shape. I'm going to the lee of the island to pull them in.
No, Grace, it'll be too much for you. Leave them, the tide will bring them in.
But Father will need help. The boat could easily capsize when they touch.
Oh, all right, then. But I'm coming with you.
No, Mother, you stay with the
I'm
others.
coming. Quickly now, lass. We'd better hurry. They'll be touching any moment now.
Oh, if only the moon would show, it'd make things easier.
Oh, I've never known a crawler night. They should be pulling in here.
I'll hail them. Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Oh, there they are.
Stand by to grab when we touch. Badly wounded survivors aboard.
Oh, poor souls. Oh, if only we had a doctor for them. We've not even supplies enough.
We've got plenty of warm blankets and coffee. That'll help them. Oh, here's the cobble.
Over the side now. Aye, there. She's touching. Grab her, Grace.
Right. Oh. Got her, Father.
Pull now.
Pull in.
Pull. Here, miss. Let me give you a hand.
Thanks.
She's steady enough. Come now. All the folks that can walk over the side you get. Help them up, Mother.
Yes, William. Come.
You, Grace, give me a hand here.
What's it, Father?
Man's badly wounded. I'll drop him over to you.
All right.
Get his shoulders.
I will.
Coming now.
Yes, I've got him. Here, come on, that's it.
My back.
You'll be all right.
Oh.
Now, come here. Put your full weight on me.
But you're a woman.
Don't talk.
Oh.
We're nearly there now.
Oh, what's your name?
Grace, darling, but please don't talk.
Darling, Grace. Darling, you saved my life. Oh, and I'll never forget.
Mother, I need more bandages. Have you any sheets left?
I've just torn these. Here, take them.
When the soup's ready, will you bring me a bowlful? I think it might help that man to revive.
How is he, Grace?
He needs a doctor badly. I've managed to stop the bleeding. Oh, Father, there you are. When can you get the doctor through?
Got no chance of reaching the mainland, Grace, not with the seas running so high.
Ah, well, we'll have to do as best we can, I suppose.
You should have a rest yourself, lass.
Oh, I'll be all right. It's the survivors that I'm worrying about.
But keep 'em warm and feed 'em. Can't do more. Help will come through from mainland in a couple of days' time. What the devil? Who's that?
It's the Coast Guard, William.
I'll let 'em in.
Oh, what a devilish night. Oh, hope you got some whiskey for me, William.
Fred, what are you doing here?
Oh, what a surprise, eh? Oh, didn't you expect us to get here, is that it? Well, after all, you did run up a signal for the Coast Guards, didn't you now? No survivors, though. We got there too late.
Here's something to warm you, Fred.
Oh, an angel of mercy, that's what you are. Oh, that warms a man. Oh, I said the Forfarshire was carrying 45, and the sea running as high as houses. Took us hours to battle to the rocks. Found only a couple of bodies. Dead.
One of them were a clergyman.
Well, how the devil did you know?
As a matter of fact, Fred, Grace, and me went out and picked up survivors.
What? You and your jokes, William, darling. Oh, you and the girl. Oh, that's Joyce, that is.
That's the truth.
Are you serious?
Aye, it was her idea when she saw him clinging to Arker's Rock. Take the fishing cobble and go out, she said. And we did.
You two rode through that sea? No, it's impossible. Why, the six of us could scarcely manage it. Now, wait a minute. If the survivors are here, where are they?
Upstairs. Come on, I'll show you.
You and that slip of a girl through that sea? Why, you must have rowed over a mile.
Aye, and when we got there, she played the boat out to keep it off rocks. I helped him aboard.
You saved 9, you said?
8 men and a woman.
Well, I never...
There you are.
Well, it's nothing short of miraculous, William, darling. I'm an honest enough man to admit that. It's miraculous. Why, we were all pulling hard against the current at Arker's Rocks, and even then the boat touched several times.
Oh, Grace is a bonny rower, Fred.
Oh, I know that, but even then, cobble isn't an easy craft to manage. Oh, well, it's not my place to stand here and make speeches, I suppose. But I'll tell you this, William, darling, with no fear of error. The world's going to hear of this lass of yours. Aye, they'll hear, and they'll be calling her an heroine.
So, that's the story, is it, Mrs. Darling?
Aye. My Gracie found herself famous. It was headlines in all the newspapers. All folks were overwhelming in their gratitude. Well, you know what it was like yourself. People want someone to admire and respect and worship. They chose Grace. But what they didn't know was that they'd destroy the girl.
Every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, we bring you a true story that has made headlines in Scoop. Scoop. True stories that have made headlines.
I'm sorry, Miss Randall. We present a true story set in Paris during the Great Exhibition of 1889.
Monsieur Valéry, where is my mother?
Your mother, mademoiselle?
Yes, her door is locked. The chambermaid says she's not there.
The room number?
Well, 343 on the 3rd floor.
I'm afraid there must be some mistake. There is no one in room 343.
No one in... Well, what do you mean?
There is no one in that room.
Oh, I'm sorry I've been so long. The prescription took time to prepare, and...
Surely you understand me, mademoiselle. There is no one in room 343.
Oh, you've moved her to another part of the building, to a quieter room. Oh, that was thought.
What is your mother's name, mademoiselle?
Mrs. Randall. She's not well, and...
I think perhaps that you have come to the wrong hotel. This is the Hotel Crillon.
And you are Monsieur Valéry. I know that, otherwise I would not be here.
But you say your mother, Mrs. Randall, is in room 343.
Well, that's where she was when I left, on the 3rd floor.
And no, mademoiselle, you are wrong. Your mother is not and never has been in this hotel.
But what are you saying?
We have no Mrs. Randall staying at the Hotel Crillon.
But she was here only an hour ago. The doctor said he would stay with her and... Oh, of course. Dr. Mine has decided she'll be more comfortable in hospital. I did suggest that originally, but he
Mademoiselle, please, you must excuse me. I'm very busy.
I'm sorry. It's just that I'm anxious about my mother.
Naturally. At the same time, there is something we must get straight. Not only do I not remember your mother, but I have never seen you in my life before, Miss Randall.
But I don't believe it. You are trying to tell me that we are not booked into the hotel? That we didn't arrive by cab from the railway station just before lunch?
That is exactly what I am telling you. At this hotel, we flatter ourselves that we never forget our guests, even though they may visit us infrequently. This is why I can say quite truthfully that I have never seen you before.
You may not remember me, Monsieur Valeri, but I most certainly remember you. You saw to our luggage and had it taken to our rooms. You advised me when my mother became ill.
I sent your luggage to room 343 on the third floor?
That was my mother's room. Mine was 445 on the fourth floor.
Ah, my dear young lady, now I know you are thinking of some other hotel. We have never served rooms 343 or 445 in the name of Randall.
I don't believe you. You're lying. These rooms are ours.
Please, mademoiselle.
I shall fetch the police and I shall
now calm yourself, mademoiselle. The guests are listening.
Let them hear every word I'm saying. You think I'm out of my mind, that I don't know what I'm saying. You do think I'm mad.
Now, come, mademoiselle, you are exciting yourself.
I've got to wake up. The room. I can describe it. There are crimson curtains and a double bed. There are Persian rugs and a comfortable chair.
Now, wait, mademoiselle. I think it's best if you come with me, and we shall go to room 343 together. Antoinette, come here, please.
Yes, monsieur.
The chambermaid. I remember her.
Please open the door, Antoinette.
Yes, monsieur.
Tell me, Antoinette, have you ever seen mademoiselle before?
No, monsieur.
But you bought us coffee.
It was not I, mademoiselle. I have never seen you before.
Thank you, Antoinette. The room, Mademoiselle Randall?
The curtains are green. And there are two beds, not one. This is the wrong room. Ours was 343.
This is room 343, mademoiselle. You can see the number on the door.
No, I tell you, this is not the room. Oh, please, help me.
Should we fetch a doctor, monsieur?
Oh, a doctor. Yes. Monsieur Valeri, please fetch a doctor. Fetch Dr. Mine. He was with my mother. He will know me. He sent me to the surgery for the prescription. Oh, please send for him before I go mad.
Mademoiselle, I have spent a lot of time on this affair. Guests are arriving all the time for the Paris exhibition, and I have a great deal to do.
Just this request, Monsieur Valeri. I promise I'll sit in the lounge till he arrives. I won't trouble anyone. Please help me, just once.
Oh, very well. We will send for this Dr. Mine, whoever he may be.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I know he'll remember me.
I am so sorry you have been troubled, Doctor, but she insisted.
Look at me, Doctor. Do you remember me?
Anna Randall?
Yeah. Oh, you do remember?
I am afraid not, my dear young lady. No. I have never attended anyone called Randall.
You, too?
This has gone on long enough. You must leave the hotel at once, mademoiselle.
You must remember. My mother was ill. You came to see her. You sent me your carriage with the prescription. Somebody must remember me.
The young lady is distraught, Monsieur Valeri.
Do you think she's a trifle deranged?
It could be so. Have you no family, mademoiselle?
My mother's here. You know, Doctor.
She came to the hotel earlier today insisting that her mother was here, which of course was nonsense.
It's true. You're saying I'm out of my mind.
The memory can play strange tricks, my dear.
Dr. Mine, I have seen you before.
Mine is not an unusual name.
It was you.
I swear it was. Otherwise, why should I know your name? Or the name of Monsieur Valeri? Is it a sign of amnesia to remember names, Doctor?
A coincidence. Let me give you a draft, and Monsieur Valeri shall bring us coffee.
As at once, Doctor. Perhaps when you have chatted to Dr. Minet, mademoiselle, you will remember the hotel at which your mother is staying. Naturally, we shall send you there at once.
Better still. After we have had coffee, I shall take our young friend to the British Embassy, and they will help her.
We must get this affair over as soon as possible, Sidney. Valerie of the Crillon tells me the situation has become most embarrassing.
You want Miss Randall sent back to England, sir?
Oh, that would be best. After all, she can't stay here at the embassy. You'd better bring her in.
Very good, sir.
And is that Dr. Feller still with her?
No, sir, he's left.
Ah.
Come in, Miss Randall. His Excellency will see you now.
Thank you.
Good day, Miss Randall. I'm sorry to see you're so upset.
You're going to help me?
Of course. That's why we're here.
You don't think I'm imagining things?
What gave you that idea?
You know where my mother is?
At the moment, we're not sure. But I'm quite certain it won't be long before we discover.
You're trying to humor me. I'm not mad. My mother was at the Creole. She was ill.
Miss Randall, Mr. Sidney is going to arrange for your passage home. Where do you live?
My mother and I were on our way to London from India. I won't go without her.
And your home in London, where's that?
With my grandmother.
Then I'd be glad if you would go with Mr. Sidney, and he'll arrange for your passage on tonight's Channel steamer.
No.
I beg your pardon.
I told you, I won't go without my mother. I won't.
Come with me, Miss Randall. We'll discuss the matter in my office.
Very well, but I mean what I say. Something has happened to my mother, and I won't go home without her.
Now, Miss Randall, perhaps you pour out the tea, and at the same time you can tell me all that has happened to you since you arrived in Paris.
Why should I? You won't believe me.
At least let me try.
Oh, very well.
When did you arrive?
This morning. My mother and I landed at Marseille and then traveled by train to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
My father, who's still in Delhi, had given us a treat. We were to see the Universal Exhibition here before we went on to London. I was so excited.
Madame and Mademoiselle Randall, welcome to Paris. We have been expecting you.
Thank you, Monsieur Valeri. It's good to be here.
When we received your letter from Delhi, we immediately reserved room 343 on the 3rd floor, as you asked.
And my daughter's room?
I'm afraid Mademoiselle's room is on the 4th floor. The hotel is very full with visitors to Paris for the Universal Exhibition. However, you need have no fear. Your daughter is just up the stairs.
As long as the rooms are quiet, we shall be happy.
Oh, we made sure of that, madame. We remembered your preference for the back of the hotel.
My husband and I were here a long time ago.
We have good memories at the Hotel Crillon, Madame Randall. You have signed the register. That's excellent. And now I'm sure you will want to go to your rooms. Your luggage is already there. Page, please show Madame and Mademoiselle to their rooms. Numbers 343 on the 3rd floor and 445 on the 4th.
Oh, Mr. Sidney, it was a lovely room. The curtains were of red velvet. When Monsieur Valeri showed me the room a little while ago, the curtains were green.
Uh-huh.
I know room 343 had red ones. I know they were red.
What happened then, Miss Randall?
Well, I remember bouncing on the double bed. The bed's so soft, Mamma. Mamma, are you all right?
A little dizzy, Hannah. I think I'd better lie down.
Oh, let me help you to the bed. Perhaps you have a chill. Oh, you sat by an open window in the train. There could have been a draft.
I feel so strange. I don't know that I'll get to the bed.
Oh, just lean on me, Mamma. That's it. 2 more steps. There. You can lie down now. Do you think we should call a doctor?
It might be wise. As every minute passes, I seem to feel worse. Go to Monsieur Valeri. He'll know someone.
Your daughter tells me you have just arrived from India by ship, Madame Randall.
That is so, Dr. Minnie.
Lie quietly, Madame. Your daughter can answer some of my questions.
Thank you. I do feel so tired.
Where in India do you live, Mademoiselle?
In Delhi?
And how did you travel to Bombay, where I believe you embarked?
By train.
When did you first feel ill, Madame Randall?
On the train from Marseille.
Is my mother very ill, Dr. Minet?
No, I do not think so.
Oh, is it a chill?
It could be so, but we must take no chance. This prescription must be made up as soon as possible.
May I fetch it for you?
Thank you, my dear. I would prefer not to leave Madame Randall just at a moment. Take my carriage, and my driver will take you to my surgery, where my assistant will make up the medicine which I have prescribed.
Doctor, do you think my mother should go to hospital?
That we shall see. At present, it is a question of fetching the medicine while I stay at your mother's side until you return.
Now you know the whole story, Mr. Sidney. When I returned to the hotel, the manager, Monsieur Valeri, told me he knew nothing of my mother and had never seen me in his life.
Miss Randall, would you do something for me?
If you want me to go to England without my mother, I cannot agree.
You do no good by staying here.
Mr. Sidney, she's ill. She needs me.
If she's here, we shall find her. What's more, we shall let you know at once.
You said if. You don't believe me either.
That's not what I said.
But you meant it. Oh, perhaps they're right. Perhaps I am mad. Perhaps I should go into a hole.
Stop it, Miss Randall. Of course you're not mad. Monsieur Valeri?
Yes, monsieur. What can I do for you?
I am John Sidney from the British Embassy.
Yes, sir.
I have come about Miss Randall.
Ah, yes. We are all glad to think Mademoiselle is once more with her own people.
She is in London with her grandmother.
That is best. Poor young lady. She must be out of her mind.
With anxiety about her mother.
Ah, tragic affair.
Yes. She was so emphatic that she and her mother were staying at your hotel.
But that is impossible. As I told the young lady, I had never seen her before.
Did she check your register?
The register?
If Miss Randall and her mother were indeed booked into your hotel, Monsieur Valeri, their signatures must appear in the register.
How foolish of me, of course. I could have convinced Mademoiselle if only I had thought of the register.
Then you have no objection if I look?
Not at all. I'm only too happy, although you are wasting your time. The book's here. Now, we will turn to the right date. So. Now, please look for yourself, Monsieur Sidney, and you will see there is no sign of a Randall.
Monsieur Valeri. Monsieur Valeri.
Dr. Minet.
I've been chasing you up the street.
I thought that we had agreed it would be best for us never to meet again.
That was a month ago. Things are different now.
I am afraid I don't agree.
My dear fellow, you're very jumpy.
Look over the road. Do you see that young man looking casually into that shop window?
Yes. Sure, I have seen him before.
You have? At the British Embassy?
I remember him. Tell me, Valeri, does he suspect something?
I'm sure he does. He comes into the hotel almost every day and questions me, and I don't know what I am saying. That is why we must never meet again in public.
Good morning, Valeri.
Oh, Monsieur Sidney, I told you last time you came that there was nothing more I could tell you.
You did say that. At the same time, I've thought of something else that I thought could be of use to us in our investigation.
Then please ask it quickly. I don't like to embarrass my guests.
Indeed? No matter. I was thinking of a remark you made to Miss Randall. You said you always remembered guests.
That is so. That is why I knew I hadn't seen Mrs. Randall before.
I think you're wrong. Some time ago, she visited the Hotel Crillon with her husband. They, too, were on their way to London from India. Of course, you remember her from that occasion?
Well, of course. As I said, we never forget faces.
Thank you, Valerie. That's all I want to know.
I don't understand.
At the moment, there is no earthly reason why you should. Good day.
Good morning, sir. Please let me know if there's any way I can help you.
I shall, Valerie. I shall.
Monsieur, please, monsieur.
Yes? What is it?
Please come into this room. Mr. Valeri must not see us talking together.
Who are you?
My name is Antoinette. I am a chambermaid on the 3rd floor.
You know something?
Oh, please, monsieur, be quiet. I shall lose my job.
Tell me quickly. What is it?
The mademoiselle was weeping. I have thought of her ever since that terrible day. Oh, monsieur, I cannot allow her to be so unhappy.
What do you know, Antoinette?
Very little, sir. Only that Miss Randall was at the hotel that day with her mother.
Well, Dr. Minet, are you going to tell me the truth now?
I cannot tell you.
I think you have no alternative. You see, I would probably lay a charge of murder against you.
Murder? You would not.
I would indeed. Now, Doctor, I know you saw Miss Randall and her mother at the hotel on the day of their arrival.
I did it for Paris.
I don't blame you for your humanity. Rather, I blame you for your cruelty to Hannah Randall.
It has preyed on my mind, Monsieur Sidney. Let us drink cognac together, and I will tell you how it all started. You will remember, I'm sure, that Hannah Randall and her mother came to France by ship from India.
Miss Hannah Randall.
Mr. Sidney, you here? You have news of my mother?
May I come in? The street is perhaps not the right place.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, how rude of me. I was thinking of... Please come in.
Thank you.
It's cold for September. Have you just arrived from Paris? Oh, I'll just close the door. Mr. Sidney, why are you here? What has become of my mother? Well, you must have heard something. Please tell me.
Before I tell you the answer to that, there is something you must know. I believed your story, Miss Randall.
Thank you.
I tried several times to tell you, but you would not listen.
I thought I was going insane. They wouldn't believe me. Oh, please tell me. Was I right? Were my mother and I at the hotel, or were we separated before we got to Paris?
Is that what you thought?
I grasped at any straw.
You were at the hotel.
Then why did they invent such a monstrous lie? Why? And why was it you didn't doubt my sanity when I told you my mother had vanished from one of the most respectable hotels in Paris?
Perhaps I did doubt you for a while, but I soon realized how completely in earnest you were.
What did you find out, Mr. Sidney?
That the Hotel Crillon was withholding information from the British Embassy.
What sort of information?
Most important of all, that you and your mother were booked into the hotel for a 2-week stay.
Then why did they deny it? Why make it appear that I was out of my mind? Why were they so cruel?
Because they were afraid.
Of what? Was it something to do with Mother?
I'm sorry, Miss Randall. I wish I did not have to bring you such sad news.
She's dead.
Yes. She died shortly after you left Paris.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Mother. Dr. Minion never said. Why did he take her from me? Why couldn't I be with her? What a terrible thing to do.
He did what he did for the same reason that he took her from the hotel. When you left for his surgery, she was taken in a cab to a private clinic where she was given every loving care.
A clinic? But that must have cost a great deal of money.
It cost you and your family nothing. Dr. Minet said that was the least he could do to make up for your suffering.
I still cannot understand why I should have to be thought mad. Why did they go to all that trouble? For what reason? And my mother's room. How could they change it so soon?
The room was not changed. All they did was change a number on the door. You were too distressed to realize they'd taken you to another room. As for the register, it was simple to tear out a page.
And you? How did you find out?
Through the chambermaid, Antoinette. It was she who gave me the first clue.
Mr. Sidney, you still haven't told me one thing. Why did they say I was mad?
You had to suffer for the rest.
For whom?
As you know, Paris was crowded with visitors from all over the world who'd come to see the exhibition. Dr. Minet and Monsieur Valéry were afraid there could be panic with everyone leaving Paris.
But why should they leave Paris? Because of my mother.
If the cause of her death had been known, they would have fled like rats from a sinking ship. And the great exhibition would have been ruined. You see, my dear, your mother died of plague.
I'm Sorry, Miss Randall was written by Bridget O'Donnell, produced by Rolf Jacobs, and directed by Delphine Lethbridge.
Every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, we bring you a true story that has made headlines in Scoop. Scoop. True stories that have made headlines.
January 1917. London shattered by Silvertown chemical explosion.
Come early. You had a good night.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, your leg hurting, eh?
It's not the leg that worries me, Mrs. Gibbs. It's everything.
Oh, you mean the war? Well, it gets us all down. Oh, I got the letter yesterday from my young Alfie. Here, I brought it for you to read.
What does he say?
Oh, he's ever so cheerful.
That's the part that sickens me, Mrs. Gibbs.
Eh?
The men dying over in France are cheerful. They endure unspeakable horrors, and when I think of the futility of it,
Now, Mr. Forbes, don't get yourself all worked up about it.
If people only appreciated how barbaric and futile killing is...
Yes.
But they don't.
No.
It's glorified in the press. Great victories in the Western Front. Allies pushing back the enemy.
Oh.
It's so futile. War isn't a game. It's a beastly frightening business.
Of course. Now, would you like me to make a nice hot cup of tea?
Oh, Mrs. Gibbs, you're so like the rest of the people in this country.
Oh?
Have a nice hot cup of tea and forget it all. As if tea were the panacea of all ills.
Yeah, oh, well, I don't know what all that means, I'm sure. But it's ever so comforting. I'll go make you a cup, shall I?
I'm sorry about the outburst, Mrs. Gibbs.
Oh, I understand, Mr. Forbes. It must be frustrating for you.
You were going to read me that letter from your son.
Oh, yes. Sure you want to hear about it?
Yes, of course I do.
Well, young Alfie does write beautifully. Here. He says here... shall I read it all with you?
You read it.
All right. Well, now, he says... it's primrose season here in France, and all the fields are yellow. The trenches are cut in chalk, which makes them more comfortable in the wet weather than the clay. The rats are terrible, and we always eat our food with our rifles next to us so we can lash out when they become too venturesome. Oh, just think of that. Rats and my Alfie, so fussy too. Our greatest problem is the German canister, a 2-gallon drum filled with explosives. It looks harmless when it's being lobbed into the trench, but when it lands, it sounds like a day of judgment.
Yes, I've seen those.
You have?
As he says, they look harmless in the air when they land.
Oh, was this what you...
Yes, it was.
Oh, dear. I wouldn't have read this if I'd known.
Oh, don't trouble yourself, Mrs. Gibbs. I've learned to live with the fact that I was blown up and blown to bits.
Oh, but you're so brave about it, Mr. Forbes. I was only saying to my next-door neighbour how much I admire you.
Laugh, clown, laugh.
Eh?
It's a waste, that's what it is.
Oh.
A blessed waste of time and life. The war to end all wars.
Oh, well, it will soon be over.
Over? Soon? Never.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, Mr. Forbes, yes.
What do you mean?
Yes, my hubby works at Crescent Wharf, Silvertown. You know, the chemical works down there.
So?
Well, they're working night and day, making bombs and things.
Is this the place they call Brunnermond?
Oh, yes, that's the name. My hubby says there are enough shells and things to finish the war tomorrow.
Munitions factory there.
Oh, so you see, the government ain't asleep. Oh, no, they're wide awake. Yes, it's that Mr. Lloyd George. Oh, I think he's got a lovely face, don't you? Yes, well, so don't you worry yourself about the future of the war. You just get yourself fit and well, see? Now, I'll go through and put a pot of soup on for you, shall I? And now you just sit there quietly and relax.
Come in, Forbes. Good to see you so much more mobile.
Thank you, Sir Hugh.
At this rate of progress, we'll have you back in the trenches in next to no time, eh?
With a leg blown off and a useless arm?
Old chap, you know what I mean. Let me pour you a little of this. Great pity it's in such short supply these days.
Yes.
There you are.
Thank you. I'd forgotten that there were such luxuries as crystal glasses and whiskey.
How are you managing, eh?
Well, I have a child who helps me.
Oh, why don't you go back home? Your father was saying...
And be a burden? No, Sir Hugh. Living this way, I'm anonymous. I'm one of many derelicts.
Oh, I say, that's hard.
At home, I'm someone special. Someone to be coddled and pitied.
Well, I can understand your way of thinking. I can admire it. Yes, by Jove, I can. You said you wanted to see me on a matter of some urgency.
Yes, it's about the Brunnermond Chemical Works. I believe they're manufacturing explosives.
Oh, possibly they are. Cigar.
No, thank you.
One of the few luxuries I have left.
Sir Hugh, if munitions are being made in that factory, it constitutes a tremendous danger to the people living and working in the vicinity.
Now, wait a minute, Forbes. Steady on. You're presuming a great deal. In the first place, how can you be positive that Brunnermond is manufacturing explosives? What evidence have you got?
My Char's husband works there, and she said that...
Your Char's husband? What the devil does he know about it, anyway?
Well, he's neither blind, deaf, nor stupid. If he talks, so will others.
Oh, but what do you expect me to do about this?
You're an MP. You have a duty and a responsibility towards the people living in this city.
My dear Forbes, this is war. Well, naturally, the government will use whatever facilities there are available for the manufacture of munitions. After the chronic shortage of shells on the Western Front and the
resultant public scandal which was directly responsible for the fall of the Asquith government 2 years ago, Lloyd George, as Minister of Munitions, has been driving day and night to build up a vast reserve of munitions.
Well, yes, I know, but...
Remember as well that the German submarine offensive is rapidly approaching its deadly peak, and a big Allied campaign on all fronts has failed, and the morale in the French and Russian armies is at a very low ebb.
But don't you see, Sir Hugh, that this makes the munitions factory all the more deadly?
Deadly? What are you talking about, Forbes?
Well, it's a very tempting target for the Germans. Its destruction would obviously do incalculable harm to the war effort.
Are you suggesting sabotage?
Why not? A Zeppelin-launched weapon would blow the entire factory apart and kill hundreds of innocent people.
Oh, come now. Come. That's extremely unlikely. Here, have another one of these.
Oh, you're as bad as Mrs. Gibbs.
Who?
My Cha. Only she pours tea. That's her solution to the world's problems. Yours is a little more expensive.
I do consider you being totally unreasonable, Forbes. If Brunnemond is being used to manufacture munitions, that is entirely up to the government. What I suggest is that you go home and enjoy the peace and tranquility of Shropshire. After all, you've done your bit.
I'll only consider that I've done my bit when I've defused that time bomb in Brunnemond.
Oh, there is nothing you can do. This is war, and every factory capable of turning out munitions must be put into full production.
Regardless of the risk to life?
Regardless of the risk.
Early today, Bird. I ain't even got the supper on.
Well, they want us to do another shift, you see.
Oh, no.
Well, it's more overtime, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'll go through and fix supper. Won't we what I planned it for?
Well, that's all right.
Had a good day?
Well, much the same as usual. Your Mr. Forbes was creating again.
Oh, no. What's he been up to now?
Preaching at the main gates about the dangers and stupidity of war.
Oh, that's his favourite line.
And warning us all about the dangers of Brunnemond blowing up.
Oh, that's another.
Yeah, but he better watch himself. They'll arrest him for being a nuisance, you know.
He says that if the Germans knew it was a munitions factory, they'd blow it up.
But how are they likely to know?
I don't know.
Now, the poor bloke's mind's gone. I suppose it was his experience in the trenches. Enough to turn anybody, that is.
Do you make many shells and things?
Oh, yeah, the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a sort of huge vats there, and there's pipes and things, and this stuff, it's so dangerous, you've got to keep it sprayed.
Oh.
And they load it into special rail trucks in the factory siding, and they take it direct to France.
I see. So Mr. Forbes could be right.
Yeah, but how could the Germans touch it? I tell you, love, it's his mind.
But you ever got a job there?
It was the best thing that could have happened to me. Steady hours, plenty of overtime. After this is all over, do you know what we'll do? We'll have our holiday.
Oh, our holiday?
That's right. The one we planned ever since we got married.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go down to Brighton and stay at one of them fancy hotels, and we'll just do nothing for a couple of weeks.
Oh, imagine it. Doing nothing.
And if Alfie's married to his Elsie by then, we'll include the two of them, all expenses paid.
Oh, just think of that.
So don't you let that bloke Forbes worry about my job, you see. It's a means to an end, that's what it is.
Of course. A means to an end. Like you say, Bird.
Dr. Angel, just a moment.
What?
I wish to speak to you.
What is it?
You're the chief chemist at the factory, aren't you?
Well,
what precautions are being made to protect the workers and the public from an enemy attack?
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
That factory is a potential time bomb. You're manufacturing munitions.
I don't know who you are or what this is all about, but I assure you that nothing can go wrong. There's no need for you to feel concerned. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Do you deny that explosives are being...
I'm not prepared to discuss this with you.
You're no better than the rest of them. No interest at all in your fellow human beings. A total disregard...
May I remind you that there is a war, and what we manufacture...
I know all about the war. I've endured it personally. No one cares one iota for humanity as a whole. If this factory does blow up and half London goes with it, there isn't one member of Parliament or public figure who will care, as long as they aren't personally affected.
I'm sorry, but I can't discuss this matter further. If you have any complaints, I suggest you take them to the right quarter. Excuse me.
Traitor! Traitor! Traitor!
Hey, sir, what's up, eh?
No one will listen to me. No one will listen.
Dr. Angel was only too glad to escape the strange man standing on the pavement, who glared at him with the wild eyes of a fanatic. He pushed his way into the security of his well-known laboratory with a sigh of relief, and was soon engrossed in an experiment. In the vast factory around him, men on night shift were filing in. Nitroglycerin lay in great vats in the cellars below him. At the siding, TNT was being loaded into the special rail trucks. Suddenly, there was a muffled explosion. It was 6:45 p.m. Angel looked around in alarm. A second later, footsteps pounded the corridor outside his room, and the door burst open.
There's a fire near number 2 melting pot, sir. We tried to contain the blaze, but we couldn't, sir.
I'll telephone the fire station. Clear the building immediately.
Right, sir.
Call for volunteers to man the emergency hoses, but get rid of everyone else, especially the women workers.
Right, sir.
Brunamond, emergency. Send all fire engines.
The doctor rushed to the first floor of the factory where the fire had started, but he was driven back by the intensity of the blaze. The emergency hoses were useless. Within seconds of the alarm, flames poked long fingers through the factory roof. In the road outside, the workers saw the glare and ran even harder. Moments later, the first fire engines arrived, and the men were running out the hoses.
The vats have to be kept cool.
Right, sir. Has everyone been cleared from the factory?
Yes, there are only essential workers here.
Right, I'll divide up the men. You, Jackson!
Yes, sir?
Yeah, try and contain the blaze on the upper floors. Take number 2 squad with you.
Right, sir. Now, come on.
And move it quickly.
The vats contain nitroglycerin. When heated, it decomposes just before boiling and then explodes.
I've called up all engines from all London districts, Doctor.
Yes, but the vats must be kept cool. Wenbon!
Yes, Doctor.
Tell those people in the street outside to clear off. Warn them there is terrible danger.
The police are there, Doctor.
Good.
Now, I'll leave the rest of this to us, Doctor, if I were you. There's nothing more you can do.
But the fire is spreading.
Leave it to us,
The
Doctor.
vats must be kept cool at all costs.
I know, Doctor, I know. We'll do what we can. Here are the reinforcements coming with more hoses. Down here, men!
Those vats must be kept cool. The temperature's rising dangerously.
Even as the doctor shouted his warning, a miniature sun seemed to erupt in the factory. It shot a tremendous glare over the city of London. For those fighting the fire, it meant nothing. One moment they were vital human beings doing their duty in the eyes of death. The next, they did not exist. Those in the 8 acres smashed by the blast heard a roar beyond the power of human description. Their homes collapsed like cards, killing them instantly or leaving them to suffocate in the ruins. 30 miles away, people heard the roar and saw the brilliant light illuminate the sky. Everything within 400 yards of the factory was flattened. Homes were reduced to bricks and matchwood, and the dead lay in misshapen heaps on the road. The first streaks of dawn revealed a horrifying sight, and even the warfare in France paled into insignificance beside the disaster.
Oh, it was awful, Mr. Forbes, awful. Oh, just awful. It was a miracle that my Bert got away. Mind you, Dr. Angel saved their lives. He didn't go himself. He stood firm there, and when it happened, the explosion blew our front door right in, and the lady 3 blocks away just vanished. One minute she was there, and the next...
I tried to help the rescuers, but...
It is too much for you, though. My Bert went out, and they used beds and doors and shutters as emergency stretchers. We worked all night with the doctors and nurses. You know what they said? that there was a 3-ton boiler in the basement, and the explosion lifted it right out onto a field half a mile away. Just think of that, half a mile away.
It was worse than France. Much, much worse than France.
Do you think it was them Germans? You said they might sabotage the factory, eh?
I've been asking myself that same question all night, Mrs. Gibbs. Was it sabotage?
My hubby said he saw you outside the gates last night.
I spoke to Dr. Angel.
Oh, and to think a couple of hours later he was lying there, finished. Oh, if only they'd listened to you, Mr. Forbes.
If only they'd listened.
Still, as my hubby said, the war has to be won, and ammunitions is the thing that'll win it in the end. I wonder if it was them Germans what did it.
Was it sabotage? That was the question debated by Londoners for weeks after the great blast. They walked slowly past the gaping hole which had once been the Brunnemond factory, and they shook their heads.
It's them Germans, I tell you. It's them.
Yeah, more than likely it was one of them airships.
Zeppelins, that's what they call them. They could have come across and dropped a charge.
Yeah. Now, my cousin was one of the firemen. He'd left the building, and that saved his life. Yeah. Said they warned the doctor to leave the place, but he wouldn't. It was them vats that did it, you know.
Nitroglycerine, that's the name of it. Once it got hot, well, yeah, there's nothing you could do, would there?
Nah. The police are asking questions all round. But I tell you this, it was sabotage.
I tell you this, Sir Hugh. It must have been sabotage.
At the moment, the cause of the fire is being listed as unknown. I must confess that sabotage is not being ruled out.
If only people had listened to me.
Oh, now see here, Forbes. Let's be realistic about this, shall we? Well, it's very simple to sit on the sidelines and criticize. But if the government hadn't made an all-out effort to build up reserves of munitions, it would have been condemned as Asquith was.
But why? Why in a built-up area? Why?
Well, where else?
I saw the results of the blast.
So did I. Shocking, truly shocking. Oh, this is certainly going to deprive us of much-needed munitions.
And the people who died. The civilians. What of them? I saw a mother and baby lying in
Yes, so did I. I believe it will be weeks before some families are reunited. A tragedy. Oh, but this is war. Now, Forbes, you listen to me. I've heard that you've been, making a nuisance of yourself.
Making a nuisance?
Oh, stopping people at Brunnemond, shouting at them. It won't do, old chap, it won't do. We don't want to be forced to take action against you, but...
If only you had listened.
Oh, the war effort cannot be stopped. There's always an element of risk. Now, why don't you go home, eh? I've been in touch with your father, and he says that...
You have?
He'll be up in London tomorrow. Return to the country with him, why don't you? There's nothing you can do here, nothing.
I knew it would happen.
Oh, you had a premonition, perhaps. Well, these things do happen. I do recommend that you go home.
Very well.
Ah, excellent, excellent. You'll benefit from the change of air.
Yes, I know. The peace and quiet of Shropshire, while the other poor souls lie dead.
Well, there are your cases. All packed and ready, Mr. Forbes.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibbs.
Oh, I'm going to miss you, sir. I really am. Mind you, it's best for you to go back home, especially after what happened. Yes, I think we're all sort of suffering from shock like. I know I am. You know, when I heard that explosion and they told me what had happened, I felt sick in my heart. I thought, oh, Bert. And then he rushed into the house like the devil was chasing him. Yeah, it's shock. Oh, is this a newspaper? Any news?
Yes. The official report of the Home Secretary has been published.
Oh, what do they say? Sabotage?
If it had been, they wouldn't acknowledge it. No, they call attention to the gallant conduct of Dr. Angel.
Oh.
And a couple of others. The cause of the fire is listed as unknown.
Oh, unknown, eh?
But the possibility of sabotage has not been overruled.
I see. So, we'll never know.
That's right.
Of course, there's a lot of talk, Mr. Forbes. Some people say they saw a foreign-looking gentleman running away just after the fire was first seen. And then others say they saw a great grey shape hovering over the factory. And one of the blokes in Bert's shift told us he heard a couple of strangers in the pub talking a foreign language. German, more than likely. The Home Office can write what they like, but I believe as you do. You know what Bert said? He said, Mr. Forbes is a... Oh, now what did he call you? Oh, yes, a visionary. He said, Mr. Forbes is a visionary.
It's too late to even talk about it now, Mrs. Gibbs.
Of course, yes.
Perhaps it is best for me to go back home. Staying here and remembering would drive me mad.
Oh, I can quite understand. You know something else Bert said? A friend of his who knows mentioned this. He said that the factory blowing up the way it did has helped the Germans.
But of course, it's given them the breathing space they need. I would say that the whole tragic disaster has been of tremendous value to the Germans.
Oh, that's awful, it really is. Still, we'll come through, Mr. Forbes. We always come through, don't we?
Yes, and sometimes I wonder how we do.
Well, there's everything waiting for you, Mr. Forbes. Oh, and your coat behind the door. Here. Perhaps you should wear this now. It's a nasty nip in the air.
Thank you. Here, take this towards your trip to Brighton.
Oh, now, that is very kind, sir. Oh, thank you. It's been a great pleasure meeting you, Mr. Forbes. I'll never forget you.
And I'll never forget you, Mrs. Gibbs.
Oh, that's nice.
And neither will I forget the day the world blew up.
Every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, we bring you a true story that has made headlines in Scoop. Scoop. True stories that have made headlines.
Murder at Hilldrop Crescent.
Hello?
Is that Dr. Crippin's residence?
Yes, that's right.
Is the doctor in, please?
Who's calling?
Mrs. Piper. Mrs. Florence Piper.
Oh, I'll get him for you. Holly! Telephone!
Thank you, my dear. Coming.
A woman calling. Says she's Mrs. Florence Piper. You know her?
Piper? Oh, yes, of course. Her husband broke his leg.
Oh, sounds kind of scared, as if she shouldn't be phoning.
I don't suppose she wants to worry me. Hello, Mrs. Piper?
Darling, I've just got in. An early train.
Oh, I see.
Come round.
It's going to be difficult, Mrs. Piper.
Please. It's been so long, a lifetime. I've missed you dreadfully.
I'll be around then. Just give him an aspirin. That should steady his nerves.
Goodbye, darling. Be quick. Be quick.
Yes, I'll be over straight away. Goodbye.
Was that really Mrs. Piper?
What do you mean, Cora?
It wasn't someone else?
Someone else? I don't understand.
I often wonder why you don't go on the stage, Hawley. You're such a wonderful actor. Looking at you now, one would never guess the truth about you.
I do wish you'd stop talking in riddles, my dear. Say what you want to say openly.
All right, then. I know all about you and that girl in your rooms. The one with the big brown eyes and the shy smile. I know all about her and you.
Are you insinuating that I'm having an affair with Miss Leneve?
I'm insinuating nothing. I'm stating a fact, that's all. You are. Everyone knows all about it.
And let me tell you this one thing, Holly. I'll stand a lot, but not too much.
Are you threatening me, Cora?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, threatening you. I don't enjoy sitting at home here in this tomb while you go out to her.
Could we discuss all this later, my dear? I told Mrs. Piper I'd be round. I don't want to keep her waiting.
Before you go, Holly, let me tell you this one thing straight. I'm leaving. Understand?
Leaving?
That's what I said. Leaving. Going back to the States, and that's not all. Before I go, I'm selling this house.
Oh?
It's mine, remember? And so is the money in the bank. I'm taking the lot. Do you hear me?
But
taking
my life
the lot,
savings,
and I'm going.
My life savings have gone into this house. This is all I have.
Oh, isn't that just too bad? You should have thought of all that sooner. I'm going to book my ticket tomorrow, and then goodbye, Hawley Harvey. Goodbye.
You can't do it, Cora.
Can't do it? Watch me. But don't let me delay you. Mrs. Piper is waiting.
Cora, you...
Good night.
We'll discuss this later.
There's no need to discuss anything. My mind's made up. I'm going, and no one is going to make me change it.
I advise you to change it, Cora. And change it quickly.
Exactly what does that mean?
I don't mind if you go, Cora. In a way, it would be a relief.
Oh, just listen to him. A relief, huh? A relief to get rid of me.
But you won't take a penny with you. I'll see to that.
Holly, darling.
Yes?
I've never known you so preoccupied. What are you thinking about?
Us. How hopeless it all is. How I've messed up your life.
Oh, no, you haven't. I didn't know the meaning of happiness until I met you.
But this is sordid. It's all wrong. You shouldn't be here, Ethel. You should be up at Hilldrop Crescent. You should be my wife, entertaining my friends. That's where you should be. That's the right place for you.
We've been through all that before, darling, so many times. You're married and, well, that's all there is to it.
She's walking out.
Oh?
She's going back to the States. She told me this evening.
Has she heard about us?
Yes.
Does she know it's me?
I'm afraid so.
I see.
And she's selling up the house, everything. She's taking my life savings. It's all in her name. Eyes are full.
Let her have it, darling. It's her right anyway. Let her have it and go.
But she'll leave me penniless, Ethel.
Money's unimportant. Perhaps she'll give you a divorce, Holly. Then we could marry.
It's the principle of the thing, Ethel. Cora's never been a good wife to me. She's been extravagant, unfaithful. She hates the house. She hates my friends. She hates me.
No, Holly, please.
I've tried to be a good husband. I've given her all she wants. Some people tell me I've spoilt her. Perhaps I have. Now this going and leaving me penniless.
But please,
I used to feel sorry for Cora. Sorry for her cheap and shoddy mind. Sorry for the fact that she thought she was a singer and the disappointment of realizing her own mediocrity. Oh, I felt sorry for her once, but now, no. Any sorrow I had has turned to hate. I'm not allowing her to get away with this.
Hi, it's Dr. Cribbin. Could I give you a lift, Doctor? Going straight past your house.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fleming. It's very thoughtful of you.
Hop in. That's it. Very late for you to be around, isn't it, Doctor?
Oh, well, the doctor's work is never done.
Same as a reporter. On the go the whole time.
But yours must be very fascinating work, Mr. Fleming.
Fascinating? That's funny. You know where I've been this evening?
I've no idea at all.
14 Bertram Terrace. I was tipped off that the police had found Markham hiding there. Drop everything, bolt for it, what do I find? Nothing. Waste of time, wild goose chase. That's my fascinating work for you.
Markham. The fellow who murdered his brother.
That's right. Did a rotten job, disgraceful. Nothing clever. Just a question of time before they bring him in and charge him.
So Markham bungled things.
That's a fact, he did. Now, if I was going to murder someone, Doctor, I'd make certain there was no evidence. Hold on, let me think. Yes, well, I'd poison my victim first. You know, administer some nice little drug. Afterwards, yes, well, there's the problem, of course. Getting rid of the body.
Perhaps it could be dissected and all identifying marks removed.
Yes, of course. Capital idea. Yes, that's the thing I'd do. Dissect it. I tell you, Doctor, it's perfect. You'd never be caught. Trouble is, murderers don't use their little grey cells. Of course, it's easy enough to talk, isn't it?
Yes, it's easy enough to talk.
No, I still think it would be as simple for a chap to get away with murder if he planned carefully, if he didn't panic and left no evidence at all.
Plan carefully. No panic. No evidence.
Yes, I must tell Inspector Dew about that.
Inspector Dew?
The Scotland Yard, you know. He's handling the Markham case. Good fellow, bit too sure of himself. You know, crime doesn't pay sort of thing. Have lots of arguments with him.
And the inspector believes that crime doesn't pay?
Yes, but that's natural, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, Doctor, this is as far as you'll want to come.
What do you mean?
Well, practically at your front door.
Oh.
Can we stop here, please? Yes, you seem very preoccupied tonight, Doctor.
Well, yes, a difficult case, you know. Well, thank you. You've been really very kind, Mr. Fleming, and helpful.
It's a pleasure, Doctor. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Plan carefully. No panic. No evidence. Plan carefully. No panic. No evidence. Plan carefully.
Holly!
Oh, Cora, my dear.
What in heaven's name are you doing out there on the porch? Oh, come in. Come in. You had me worried. I heard the gate, then silence. I thought you were a burglar.
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear.
It's the inconsiderate sort of thing you would do. Now you've upset my nerves. I'll never sleep.
I could give you a sedative, my dear. A very mild, soothing.
It seems a pity that natural sleep is denied me because of your lack of consideration. Well, why are you so late? Where have you been? Oh, with her, I suppose.
Oh,
no, don't answer. I was telling Lil Hawthorne about it this evening.
Oh, was she here?
Yes, she came just after you left.
And what exactly were you telling her?
About my plans, that's what.
So you intend to go through with them? You are leaving?
Yes, definitely. I'm booking my passage tomorrow, and I'm putting the sale of this house into the hands of the agents.
I presume it was Miss Hawthorne's idea.
It was, yes. And a good one, too.
What happens to me?
You? You could do what you like. Why not go to her? She'll be waiting. Not as if I intend to divorce you, Hawley. Oh, no. I'll keep my fingers on the reins.
You're being very foolish, Cora.
I'm being very sensible for the first time in years. Well, it's no use standing here talking. I'm going up to bed. Not that I expect to sleep, not after all this.
I'll bring you a sedative, Cora.
Oh, trying to get round me.
What do you mean?
You think I'll wake up nice-tempered and easy-going. Well, I won't, see? Do you understand me? I won't.
Control yourself, Cora. You're hysterical.
It's you that's making me, no one else.
Go up to your room.
All right, I'm going. No need to shout. No need at all.
Plan carefully. No panic. No evidence. Plan carefully. I brought the sedative, my dear.
Oh?
I haven't any tablets left, but you'll find this most soothing. Here, drink it down.
I don't want it.
Be sensible, my dear. It will relax you and make you sleep.
Oh, all right. Oh, it's a terrible taste. It's bitter.
Now drink it down.
Not all of it. It's too much.
All of it, Cora. Every drop. Huh? That's it. Excellent. Lie back and sleep.
Why are you standing there looking at me like that, Holly? What have you done? That drink! That drink! think? What was it?
But you mustn't worry, my dear. It'll soon be over. Just lie back and sleep.
No. Oh, no.
Good morning. Can I help you? Yes, you can. Where's Mrs. Crippen? What's happened to her?
Perhaps you would like to speak to the doctor.
I certainly would.
What name shall I say?
Hawthorne. Mr. Lil Hawthorne. He knows me well.
Doctor?
Yes.
Miss Lil Hawthorne is here to see you.
Oh. What does she want? Is it about Cora?
Yes.
I see. Show her through, Ethel.
Very well. Would you go through, Miss Hawthorne? The doctor will see you.
Lucky for him, it wasn't difficult. Well, where is she? What have you done with her? Come on, the truth, mind.
Would you mind sitting down, Miss Hawthorne? I'll just shut this door. That's it. Now, what is troubling you?
You know quite well. Cora. I've been on tour for a couple of months, and I got back yesterday and went up to the house, and they told me she isn't there and she's gone.
So you haven't seen the papers, then?
Papers? What papers?
Cora died in California.
What?
It was a terrible shock.
Oh.
The poor soul had a heart attack. The blessing is that she was with her parents when she died.
Cora dead? I can't believe it. Oh, this isn't true. This is something you've made up.
It was reported in all the papers. A special obituary notice appeared in a theatrical magazine. Unfortunately, Miss Hawthorne, unfortunately, it is true.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry that this has been, well, such a shock.
I can't believe it. Not Cora. Dead. Not Cora.
Could I give you a drink of water, Miss Hawthorne?
Where did you say she died?
California.
Oh, well, I'd better be going.
Can I...
goodbye, Doctor. No, I'll find my own way out.
Goodbye, Miss Hawthorne.
Your name is Ethel Neve, isn't it?
Yes.
When did Cora Crippen die? How long ago?
3 months ago, in California.
I see. That ring you're wearing, where did you get it from?
Yes. A friend gave it to me.
Oh. Must be worth something, that diamond. Oh, well, when your friend gets bored with you, shift him over my direction. I could do with a friend who gives presents like that. Goodbye, Miss Neve.
Goodbye.
But it won't be goodbye for long. Got a feeling that we'll be seeing each other quite soon. Yes, quite soon.
Why, Lil, you of all people. What are you doing here at Scotland Yard?
I've come to see you, Walter.
Me? This is wonderful. Sit down.
Thanks. I've just been to see Dr. Crippen. You know him?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. A nice little chap. Paid him a call the other day.
Why?
Official business.
What's that mean?
It's confidential.
You think he murdered her, don't you?
Murdered who?
Oh, it's no use acting innocent as far as I'm concerned, Walter. He did murder Cora, didn't he?
Oh, now, what makes you say a thing like that, Lil? She goes away, she dies, and everyone says he murdered her.
Oh, so I'm not the only one.
No, but there's no truth in it. None. We've checked up.
And Cora did die, like he said?
She's not dead, no.
Oh, you mean she's alive?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Crippen confessed that he invented the story of her death to avoid scandal. You know, wife leaving him sort of thing. Not good for his practice.
Oh.
Sorry to disappoint you, Lil. The murder angle has been investigated closely, and no dice.
But why is she wearing Cora's jewelry?
Who?
The Neve woman. I recognize one of her rings. She always wears it.
Are you sure?
Oh, positive, Walter, positive. Cora was proud of her jewelry, especially that ring. She wouldn't go away and leave it, not Cora.
Well, perhaps she chucked it at him in a fit of temper. He did say his wife had a mercurial temperament.
You think Cora would throw money around? Not her, never. It isn't in character, Walter, and I knew her very well. Oh, and there's another thing, too.
Yes?
When I was asking him about her, his Adam's apple went up and down, up and down.
What does that signify?
Well, he's nervous. Now, why should he be nervous? I ask you that.
Now, see here, Lil. You don't down a fellow because his Adam's apple goes haywire.
Yes, but Walter, what about the jewelry? That's the thing. The jewelry. What about that?
I'll tell you what I'll do, Lil. I'll go and have another talk with him. But it doesn't mean I think he's a murderer, mind. I must say I'd like to clear up the jewelry business. That does seem a little strange to me. More than likely there's some perfectly normal explanation, but I'll go and find out. Hello, is that Dr. Crippen? And who's speaking? The painter? Are you painting his rooms? What? He's no longer there? When did he leave? Ah, yes, I see. Thank you. That's strange. And I'll see if I can get him at his residence. Now, what's the number? H. Crippen. Yes, there we are. Operator, 475, please. There's no one there either. I don't like the look of this at all. I wonder if he's bolted. I think I'd better go round to his house and search thoroughly.
We're through the garden, sir. Dug it all up, but found nothing.
Well, if he murdered his wife, she's here somewhere, I'm sure of it.
Can I help you in the cellar, sir?
Well, we've been round most of it, as you see. We've practically pulled it to pieces, tested all these bricks. We've dug right round the corners there. All we've got to do is this piece here.
I'll give you a hand, sir.
Right. Crippen has certainly done a good disappearing act. No sign of him or the girl in Eve.
He must be guilty, sir.
Yes, we've got to prove it. And that's not easy if we can't find evidence.
No, there's nothing here, sir. Mostly cement.
Yes. I wonder why there should be cement here. It's not a foundation. Pass me that poker over there, Peters.
Here we are, sir.
Perhaps I could lever it. Yes, it's coming up. Look, now the spade. That's it. Gently now.
Struth, sir. There is something there.
Look, careful with that spade. Clear the sand.
Oh, look, sir, it's...
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I think we've found what we're looking for, Peters. We'd better have these examined and then a warrant issued for the arrest of Dr. Crippen and Miss Leneve. Charge, capital murder.
May I come in, sir?
Why, yes, Peters. Any news?
This wireless message, sir.
Huh?
Received from the captain of the Montrose. 2 people on board answer the description given of Crippen and a girl.
Here, let me have a look. Sailing from Antwerp to Quebec, 2 passengers. Mr. and Master Robinson.
It's a good disguise, sir. Dress her up as a boy.
Yes. I tell you what, Peters, send a wireless message back to the Montrose. We'll disguise ourselves as pilots and board the ship off Father Point Light in St. Lawrence. You'd better warn the captain as well that he must do nothing to make Crippen suspicious. That little man is smart, and there's no telling what he'll do if he suspects we're after him.
The captain says they've located him on the promenade deck, sir. The girl's in her cabin.
Good.
We'll be able to see if we go over this way.
There he is, sir. Look.
The one wearing the dark suit.
That's not Crippen. I know him. That fellow's the same height, but he's blond and he's not wearing glasses either. Wait a minute. Let's get a bit closer.
Well, sir?
Yes, that is Crippen. He's bleached his hair and moustache, but it's him, no doubt at all. Come on, Peters. Let's go over to him. Dr. Crippen.
Inspector Dew.
I'm afraid you'll have to return to England with me, Doctor. Your wife's body's been found in the cellar. Is Miss Leneve in her cabin?
Yes, but go easy on her, Inspector. She didn't know. She thought we were escaping the scandal. She's innocent. Please believe that. You must... She didn't know.
I'll go easy on her, don't worry.
I thought I'd planned everything so carefully. What made you suspect?
The captain.
He knew?
Yes.
How could he have known? He came aboard as John Robinson and Son. I thought of everything. How could he have known?
On the second day out, he happened to look on the promenade deck.
Yes.
He saw John Robinson and Son holding hands.
No. What a fool. What a wretched fool I was.
Would you follow me, Doctor? Down this way.
Scoop. Every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, we bring you a true story that has made headlines in Scoop.
Gentlemen, please.
Sorry.
Now then, Captain Bligh, shall we get on with the court-martial? You say that you and Fletcher Christian had known each other before the Bounty sailed for Tahiti.
Yes, sir. We had already sailed aboard the Britannia together.
Your first command. Yes, I read about that. Extraordinary.
Extraordinary, sir?
Well, don't you find the situation extraordinary, Captain? We have on record Christian's gratitude to you for your courtesy and friendship during the Britannia's cruise.
I taught him navigation and cartography.
And yet this man turned against you aboard the Bounty. Why?
He was not prepared to accept discipline.
Did he show such tendencies aboard the Britannia?
No, sir. That's why I asked him to join the Bounty.
Would you call yourself a sadist, Captain?
I don't know what you mean. I'm a disciplinarian.
A martinet?
Possibly. As I said, I believe in discipline. Even so, I've no faith in the cat o' nine tails.
You have never flogged a member of your crew?
I didn't say that. I said I have no faith in flogging. It has no effect on today's seamen.
Perhaps we should start from the beginning of the cruise. In your own words, Captain Bligh.
Very good, sir. We had been dispatched to the South Seas to gather specimen plants of the breadfruit tree. The plants were to be specially cared for during the return journey to the West Indies, where they were to be transplanted.
I understand the fruit was to be part of the staple diet of slaves working on the plantations.
Yes, sir.
Carry on, Captain Bligh.
The Royal Society offered a gold medal to anyone who could successfully accomplish what they considered was a horticultural feat. So you can appreciate my feelings about the voyage. I looked on its outcome as a personal triumph well within my grasp.
The Bounty was a small full rigger from the coastal trade.
Yes, sir, with a complement of under 50. The breadfruit plants were to be carried below decks, where special provision had been made for them.
You say the crew was under 50. Did you have any difficulty in finding the right men?
Not at all. There was not a man in London who would not have given all he possessed to go on the voyage. I handpicked every one of them.
I'm amazed to think you chose a crew of mutineers.
They did not appear so at first, sir.
Kindly tell us about the voyage.
We up-anchored 2 days before Christmas 1787, sailing into some of the worst weather I have ever experienced. The men were depressed beyond measure. The Bounty was not built for such conditions, and I suppose they already saw months of hardship ahead of them. Apart from this, it was bitterly cold. I decided to break their mood by making changes in the ship's routine, and so I created 3 watches instead of 4.
For what reason?
It meant that each man could have a full 8 hours at a time below decks. Incidentally, it was while on our way to Tenerife that I appointed Fletcher Christian acting lieutenant.
Wasn't that somewhat unwise?
You mean as far as Roger Fryer was concerned?
Exactly. He was master of the ship, and your action made Christian his superior.
I suppose so.
I can understand his feeling disgruntled at such treatment, Captain Bligh, though I can't say the same for Christian. Proceed.
We put into Tenerife for repairs. As you will appreciate, these had to be done in a hurry.
A member of the crew has testified that you refused to wait long enough at Tenerife to replenish the ship's depleted food supply.
We had a long way to go. It was necessary to round the Horn during the winter months, and I wanted to do that.
There was the question of bread, Captain Bligh.
Bread?
You've forgotten?
No, I didn't think it was important.
We'd be glad if you'd tell us what happened.
Very well. We were a few days out of Tenerife. You will parade the ship's company, Mr. Christian?
No.
What did you say?
You'd be mad to parade them now while they're still smarting from the cut and the bread allowance.
Am I captain of the Bounty or am I not?
I know the cut was necessary under the circumstances, but...
What circumstances, Mr. Christian?
You know as well as I do that a few more days in Tenerife would have made all the difference to our rations. We could have stocked up in flour and...
We did stock up in flour.
But not enough.
Possibly not. Nevertheless, we've a long voyage ahead of us. The men must not be allowed to get soft.
All starved.
You
sir.
are forgetting yourself, Mr. Christian.
I'm sorry, but I feel strongly that
You have sailed with me before. You know I always look after my men.
Then increase the bread allowance.
How dare you tell me what to do? I made you lieutenant aboard the Bounty for one reason only, Fletcher Christian. You and I understood each other aboard the Britannia. You knew my only interest then was in the crew. Why should I have changed now? The men will parade immediately.
They know about the cut in the rations. Why should they have to parade?
Mr. Christian, it is as easy for me to divest you of your position as it was for me to give it to you.
You said we have a long way to go. I want no trouble on this ship.
Neither do I, Mr. Christian. Neither do I.
Then forget the parade. We've already been at sea for over 2 months without any parade for floggings.
Floggings? Why should you think of that?
If the men should rebel against the cut...
You're making too much of the matter, Christian. It's not only about the bread situation that I wish to speak.
Then what?
Discipline.
What's wrong with it?
It's getting late. Parade the men and you'll see for yourself what's wrong with the discipline aboard the Bounty. I'll stand no more of it. Do you understand me? No more of it. This ship is a pigsty. Do you think I'm blind? Do you think I've not noticed the grime on the decks, the filth in the cabins, or the putrefying food left in the store? As for your notion of personal hygiene, that does not exist. Look at you, riff-raff, vermin. Not one of you is fit to sail in a ship bound on the King's business. Things have got to change aboard the Bounty, or I'll know the reason why. Mr. Christian?
Captain?
Come here, if you please. In view of the state of this ship, I've decided to issue fresh instructions to all crew members. The 3 watches will still be kept, but during the 8 hours we spent below decks, and by that I mean in off-duty hours, all members of the crew will see that the decks are scrubbed, the ship cleaned, and shirts and pants washed.
They're to have no rest at all?
Rest? They've had plenty of rest already, all the way from London. Now it's time to work, and work they shall.
What about the food?
You said something, Quintal.
I said, what about the food, Captain?
I'd be glad if you'd come up here and repeat that remark so that all the crew can hear. Up here, if you please, Mr. Quintal.
I meant
up here.
All right, Captain.
It'll do no good to make a fool of him in front of the ship's company.
A fool, Mr. Christian. I'd no intention of doing any such thing. Quintal had something of interest to say. I wanted to know what it was. Well, Quintal, repeat what you said.
I said, what about the food?
What about it, Mr. Quintal?
The men are hungry, Captain. Since the bread ration was reduced, they haven't had the heart to keep the ship in trim.
Indeed. What do you suggest I do about it?
Increase the ration, Captain, and you'll find you have the finest ship's crew this side of the equator.
So, you know better than I do you?
I know how the men are thinking.
Mutinously?
No, they only want their rights.
Do they? Then they shall most certainly get their rights.
Thank you, Captain. On you,
Mr. Christian, see that this man has 20 lashes.
You can't do that.
40 lashes, Mr. Christian.
I didn't mean no harm.
In front of the crew, Mr. Christian.
Aye, sir.
And if any more of you have any ideas about the running of this ship, I suggest you keep them to yourselves. I am captain of the Bounty. By heaven, I shall see she gets to her destination and home again.
Turn him gently, Purcell, on his face.
I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
Steady, lads.
You want the cloth coat?
Yeah. Nasty back. I'll have to clean it or it's going to...
No.
Lie wasn't like this on the Britannia.
Where's the bucket?
Now it's here. It's salt water.
Well, that's best. Pour a little water in.
Help me! I can't
Hold on, Matt. Hold on. Purcell, hold him down with...
Leave me alone! I'd rather die!
It's got to be done, lad. Now hold him there, Millward.
You please, don't touch me.
That's it. Look, it's better already.
He fainted.
Best thing for him.
Did you see Christian's face?
Yeah.
He hates the captain, does Fletcher Christian.
I wouldn't say that.
He's served with him a long time.
I've served with him too, and he's changed.
But the captain's got a lot of responsibility.
He may have, but there's no reason to treat a man like a dog.
He's not the only captain to have flogged a seaman.
I know that. One expects it. All the same, Matt Quintal didn't deserve it, now did he?
I suppose not. Well, he'll just have to learn to keep his mouth shut, won't he?
I'll tell you something, Cole. That won't be the end of the trouble aboard the Bounty.
What do you mean?
I've heard things. The men are discontented.
A seaman always
But
are.
not like this. We might have to get rid of him before we get to Tahiti.
Who?
The captain, if he goes on treating us like this.
Hey, look out, this Christian.
We'll have to talk to the captain when we...
Shut up, Purcell.
How is Quintal?
It's sore, Mr. Christian. Mighty sore, but he'll be all right.
Poor fellow. He didn't deserve it.
That's what I said. I said the captain shouldn't have done anything like
You
that.
better be careful, Mr. Purcell. Insubordination means
I
another...
know what insubordination means, Mr. Christian. You can be sure I do.
It was this flogging that sowed the seeds of mutiny, Captain Bligh?
Not entirely. As I have so often said, there is nothing unusual about floggings on board ship.
The additional work and the reduced rations, then?
Admiral Walker, at that time I was sorely tried by the weather. By the time we reached Tierra del Fuego, the Antarctic winter was approaching with its gale-force headwinds and blinding snowstorms. For 3 weeks, in bitter cold and mountainous seas, the Bounty struggled round Cape Horn in her attempt to reach the Pacific. I spared neither myself nor my crew. Together we worked long hours while the rigging froze and the decks became encased in ice. Then we sprang a leak, and I knew we must go about and run for the Cape of Good Hope, sailing eastwards to Tahiti instead of westwards.
You called in at Cape Town?
Yes, sir. We provisioned there, and the Bounty was repaired.
And did this enforced rest improve the mood of the crew?
No. Indeed, it had the opposite effect. They had time, while they rested, to brood on their so-called grievances. What is more, Christian found some new rapport with the crew. Perhaps their sullenness matched his, I don't know. Anyway, it's not important.
Not important, Captain. I'd say it's the crux of the matter. Please continue your story.
Very good, sir. We sailed by way of Tasmania for Tahiti, arriving there in October. We had taken 10 months to get to our destination and could have been on our way to the West Indies within 3 weeks. Luck was against us again. We had to wait 5 months for favorable weather, and during that time, the crew led an idyllic existence. I believe it was then that the seeds of the mutiny were sowed aboard the Bounty.
How could such a tropical existence harbor the seeds of mutiny, Captain Bligh?
Perfectly easily, sir. I think you have on record the affair of the cheese.
The cheese? Ah, yes, off Tahiti. Perhaps you would refresh our memories of the finer details.
Yes, sir. I remember I asked for the cheeses, stored below decks, to be brought up, so that I might see whether they had deteriorated to the point of being uneatable. How many did you say, Mr. Christian?
18, sir.
Count again, Mr. Christian. There were 20 there when we left Tasmania.
It's not necessary for me to count, Captain. I can see there are 18.
I'd be glad if you'd not argue with me. Count them again.
Aye, aye, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18 cheeses, sir.
Indeed. Then 2 cheeses have been stolen from the cask.
I'm sure you must be wrong, sir. No one in the ship would...
Go!
Captain?
I think you were responsible for the cheeses, were you not?
There were only 18 as far as I know, sir.
You are lying, do you hear me? Lying.
No, sir, I swear it. I counted them.
Did you count 2 of them into your own pocket?
Captain, that's not fair.
Did you, Cole? Did you perhaps decide to sell the cheeses?
I'll not stand here and listen to you making false accusations.
You'll not do what, Mr. Christian?
Cole would never steal.
Did I say he stole? No, Mr. Christian, Cole was not the only one responsible for this disappearance. It was a conspiracy.
Conspiracy?
As First Lieutenant of the Bounty, Mr. Christian, I would have thought you would keep your eyes open. This ship is alive with thieves and swindlers.
That's not true.
I've been at sea long enough to know what I'm talking about. Look at them. Look at their faces. Robbers and pilferers. It has got to stop, and I am going to stop it. There will be no more thieving as long as I am captain of the Bounty. Well, Mr. Christian, what shall we do about these men?
Overlook it, sir. It won't happen again.
So you are siding with them, are you?
You can't punish them unless you're certain.
I am certain. So certain that I shall stop the crew's cheese ration.
That's inhuman. When we leave Tahiti, they'll have little enough to eat.
You are right there, Mr. Christian. Did you know we are leaving in 3 days' time, on the tide?
How could I know? You didn't tell me.
You are not master of this ship, Mr. Christian. That is Mr. Fryer's position. We shall sail on the tide whether we have stores or not.
I tell you, the captain's had a row with Fryer. Bob Tinkler told me. What would the ship's boy know? He hears a thing or two when he's cleaning the captain's day cabin.
And what was the row about?
Well, Bligh told Fryer to sign the ship's account, and he wouldn't, until the captain signed another statement declaring that, to date, Fryer had done nothing to displease the captain.
What's that mean? Fryer's never forgiven Bligh for promoting Christian. Could it be something to do with that?
Did the captain sign the statement? No. He gave Fryer a piece of his mind. Even read him a piece of naval law. Said it was applicable to the situation.
What situation?
I don't know. Unless he thinks we're going to mutiny.
Mutiny? Yeah, that's a good one. Who'd put their head in a noose from choice?
I would. You? Why not? I couldn't suffer more than I have with the lashes on my back.
I'd keep quiet if I were you.
Are you frightened, Mr. Cole?
I'm not a fool, if that's what you mean.
Are you going to let Bligh get away with murder? Do you know what he's going to do to us all?
Have you got some complaint, Quintal?
Mr. Christian, I didn't mean...
What are you discussing?
I'm not discussing anything, sir. I'm just talking about...
I'd be glad if you'd explain something to me, Mr. Christian, sir.
Well, Purcell, what is it?
When we left Tahiti, the captain told us everything aboard the Bounty belonged to him. In fact, 9/10 of each man's personal possessions was to be the captain's property.
I've been thinking about that, too.
Said in the heat of the moment, I expect.
Well, that wasn't it, and you know it.
Then what do you think it means, Purcell?
I think he's as much of a thief as he says that we are. 9/10 of the goods and gear we collected on Tahiti during our 6-month stay is a lot of possession.
Said like that, it is. I believe he means that it's his as long as we're afloat. When we get home to England, he'll...
Don't make me laugh. He's a swine, that's what he is, a swine.
I'll ignore that remark, Quintal. I'd like to give you a word of warning. Keep your mouth shut till the end of the voyage if you want to stay alive. And now I'll tell you why I'm here. The coconuts that were brought aboard yesterday when we landed at Namuka. The captain's ordered a watch to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, he thinks they'll go too, does he? Well, it doesn't matter, does it? They're our coconuts, and we've as much right to them as...
I told you to shut up. You'll do as you're told. I want you to arrange the shift, Mr. Bosun.
Aye, aye, sir.
And you'll make sure not one of those coconuts finds its way into the crew's quarters.
Aye, aye, sir.
Answer me. Someone's stolen them. What's the matter with you all? Your consciences pricked, perhaps? Someone's stolen those coconuts. Who is it?
There was a watch kept on them during the night, Captain. No one could have stolen them.
Couldn't they, Mr. Christian? How can you be so sure?
Because I arranged the watch myself. The men were reliable. They could never have...
And you... Come on, answer me.
You were speaking to me, Captain.
No one else, Mr. Christian. And you?
I don't know what you mean.
And let me explain what I mean, clearly. You say that not one of the men standing on the deck before me could have stolen those coconuts. If that is true, there is only one other person I can think of who might have.
You're referring to me?
Yes, I am. You have stolen my coconuts.
Are they your coconuts, Captain?
You know they are. I've had enough of your lying, of your association with a scum you call crew.
I don't blame them.
For what, Mr. Christian?
It doesn't matter.
You are wrong. It does matter. I insist on knowing all that goes on aboard this ship. You are going to tell me. Listen to me, men. Until the culprit admits who stole those coconuts, the rum is used to be stopped. The rations will be cut and the coconuts confiscated, you understand? I am captain of this ship, and I expect discipline.
On behalf of the crew...
On behalf of no one, Mr. Christian. I've made up my mind. I shall make you glad to jump overboard before this voyage is finished.
I'd rather die 10,000 deaths than bear any more of this treatment.
He doesn't mean it, Mr. Christian. Not to you, anyway.
He means it, all right. Don't you see, there's nothing I can do for any of you. If I answer him back now, the captain will have me flogged. And believe me, that'll be the death of us both.
Death, sir?
That's where I'd take him in my arms and jump overboard with him. Who's willing to seize the ship with me?
You mean mutiny?
Put it that way if you want to, Quintal.
No, I'd not do that if I were you, Mr. Christian. You'd ruin your sea career.
Do you think I have much of a career left anyway, Cole?
Well, sir, you're a likely young man. You could get a commission in the Navy.
Don't talk daft. Unless Mr. Christian takes over this ship, we'll never get back to England. Not with that madman Bligh, anyway. I'm behind you, sir.
Thank you, Quintal. What about you, Purcell?
Why not? Can't lose anything.
Only our lives.
What will you do with the captain?
I thought about that. I'll load the ship's boat with provisions and equipment and set him adrift.
But he'll die. We must be miles from land.
It's either us or Bligh, Cole.
Mr. Christian's right. We take over the ship and sail her to... Where do we sail her to, Mr. Christian?
Tahiti. How does that suit you?
Yeah.
You're asking for trouble. Wait for a while and see how things go.
You don't have to come with us, Mr. Cole.
I've made up my mind. I'll take the Bounty this very night.
How?
There are 18 crewmen willing to support me. One of them is the ship's armourer, Joe Coleman. He's given me the key to the arms chest. He's going to tell Fryer there's a cruising shark to be shot.
There's a cruising shark, all right, and its name's Bligh.
So, Mr. Bligh, you're my prisoner.
By heaven, Christian, I'll see you swing from the yardarm when I get you back to England.
We're not going back to England, though you may, if you wish.
You will never get away with mutiny.
I think I shall. Hold him, guards.
Let go of me, do you hear? I am captain.
You were captain, Mr. Bligh.
Ah, you were captain, but you're not anymore. We're sick of you, Mr. Bligh. Sick of being blamed.
You're very brave now that you're armed, Quintal. If I get a chance, you'll use that cutlass on yourself.
You won't get that chance, Mr. Bligh.
What are you going to do with me?
You'd like me to hang you, wouldn't you, Mr. Bligh? But I won't. I'd never give you that satisfaction. Do you see the boat down there? I've victualled it and equipped it for a long journey.
You intend setting me adrift?
I'm not inhuman. I believe in giving every man his chance.
What chance have I got there?
You should have thought of that when you flogged us, Mr. Bligh. What chance did we have against you?
You're a first-class seaman. There's sails aboard. The sails have given you a box of tools. There's food, water, rum, wine, and these. My sextant and nautical tables.
Do you know where we are?
3,500 miles away from Dutch Timor.
Yes, 3,500 miles away. Very well, Mr. Christian, set me adrift. I'll take my chance with the best of them.
And you'll not go alone, sir. 25 members of the crew have elected to go with you.
They're brave men. And where will you go, Christian?
I've not made up my mind.
You mean you wouldn't tell me if you did know? You're no fool. And yet you are a fool. If you think I'll not get back to England, you're wrong. I will. And I'll find you again. Give up this ridiculous idea.
I've been through hell this last fortnight, Captain. I'm determined not to suffer it any longer. Put them aboard the boat.
Christian, wait. I'll pawn my honor. I'll give my bond, Mr. Christian, never to think of this mutiny again. If you change your mind...
No, Captain Bligh. If you had any honor, things would have never come to this. Put them aboard.
The story of our voyage and the Bounty's launch is now history, my lords. The tale of how we finally brought the boat to safety, against all the hazards of weather, sea, and unfriendly natives on islands where we called, is a saga of the sea. We were set adrift on April the 28th, 1789, and arrived in England in March 1790. We had navigated some 3,600 miles in an open boat to reach Timor in the East Indies. Some of my shipmates died, but many of them survived. And they're here today to add their part to our story. I put my life in your hands, my lords.
Captain Bligh, we have listened with amazement and interest to your story. And although we feel you were not without blame in the matter, I know that I speak for my colleagues on the court-martial when I say you are exonerated of blame for the loss of the Bounty.
Thank you, sir. There is one thing I would ask of you.
And that is?
That the Royal Navy should send a ship to find the mutineers and bring them to justice.
That we have already decided to do, Captain Bligh. The frigate Pandora sails next week for Tahiti. Believe me, if it's humanly possible, we'll capture them, Captain Bligh. We'll capture them.
Every Saturday night at 9 o'clock, we bring you a true story that has made headlines in Scoop.